In the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict, the night of July 10 into the early hours of July 11, 2025, marked one of the boldest strikes ever recorded, as Ukraine unleashed a swarm of drones targeting the Lukhovitsy Aviation Plant, a critical Russian defense facility deep in Moscow Oblast's Lukhovitsy town. This audacious attack not only showcased Ukraine's tactical prowess, but also highlighted its remarkable advancements in drone technology, signaling a turning point in modern warfare. Drawing from reports by Reuters, Kyiv Independent, and the Moscow Times, we bring you the full story of this extraordinary assault. The Lukhovitsy Aviation Plant, located in Lukhovitsy town, Moscow Oblast, roughly 68 miles southeast of Russia's capital, stands as a cornerstone of Russia's defense industry. Operated by the MiG Corporation, the facility produces and upgrades fighter jets such as the MiG-35, MiG-29, MiG-31, and MiG-29M2, aircraft that dominate Russia's air campaigns. Additionally, Lukhovitsy plays a key role in developing and enhancing the Shahed 136 drone, with a range of 1,243 miles, a 110-pound warhead, and a speed of 115 miles per hour, which Russia has used to devastating effect against Ukrainian cities like Kyiv and Kharkiv, inflicting heavy damage on civilian infrastructure and lives. Beyond supplying Russia's air force, the plant supports arms exports, generating billions in revenue for Moscow. Positioned deep within Russian territory and shielded by a dense air defense network around Moscow, Lukhovitsy symbolizes Russia's industrial might. Yet, its strategic importance made it a prime target in Ukraine's campaign to cripple Russia's war machine. The strike on Lukhovitsy was a direct retaliation for Russia's barrage of Shahed 136 drone attacks on Ukraine throughout July. Notably, Russia launched two major assaults on Ukrainian cities, including Kyiv, on July 4th and July 10th. According to Reuters, on July 4th, Russia deployed 539 drones and 11 missiles, damaging 40 apartment buildings, railway infrastructure, and 5 schools in Kyiv, killing 1 person and injuring 23. On July 10th, Russia struck again with 728 Shahed 136 drones and 18 missiles, targeting Kyiv and other areas, severely damaging civilian infrastructure, per Al Jazeera. These attacks intensified pressure on Ukraine, prompting Kyiv to escalate its strategy of striking deep into Russian territory to disrupt Moscow's weapons supply chain. Per Kyiv Independent, Ukraine has ramped up its long-range drone operations since early 2025, targeting Russian military bases, ammunition depots, and weapons factories in regions like Bryansk, Rostov, and Crimea. A notable strike in May hit a drone production facility in Dubna, destroying a Shahed assembly line and disrupting Russia's arms supply. These attacks forced Russia to spread its air defenses thin, easing pressure on Ukraine's front lines in Donbass and Kharkiv. For Ukraine, targeting Lukhovitsy was not just about physical damage, but also a bold statement that it would bring the war back to Russia, mirroring the aggression Moscow has inflicted on Ukraine. To execute the Lukhovitsy strike, Ukraine meticulously prepared for months, amassing a large drone fleet and employing saturation tactics to overwhelm Russian air defenses. Reuters reports that Ukraine boosted production of the AN-196 Luty drone, with a 621-mile range, a 110 to 165-pound warhead, a speed of 155 miles per hour, and a flight altitude below 1,640 feet at factories in Kyiv and Lviv, aiming to produce 30,000 units by 2025, as stated by President Volodymyr Zelensky. Ukraine also deployed modified light aircraft like the Aeropract A-22 Foxbat with a 105-mile speed and 220-pound payload equipped with GPS navigation and high-explosive warheads. Additionally, Ukraine used homemade decoy drones with commercial components to distract Russian radars. In total, Ukraine deployed over 100 drones, including 60 AN-196 Luty, 30 modified aircraft, and 20 decoys. Ukraine integrated advanced navigation technology into its drones, combining GPS with inertial systems to maintain precise routes despite Russian electronic jamming. High-explosive and fragmentation warheads were optimized to destroy industrial infrastructure, targeting Lukhovitsy's aircraft assembly shops and component warehouses. The Moscow Times reports that Ukraine finalized preparations by late June, staging assets at bases in eastern Ukraine near the Russian border. Drones were launched from mobile platforms for flexibility and secrecy. Ukraine also deployed the Bukovel AD electronic reconnaissance system with a 62-mile detection range and radar jamming capabilities to map Russian radar signals and plan flight paths that avoided Moscow's main air defense hubs. Backed by an effective intelligence network and Western support, Ukraine gained detailed insights into Russia's defenses at Lukhovitsy. Ukraine's Defense Intelligence Agency, GUR, and Security Service, SBU, closely monitored Russian activities in early 2025. Kyiv Independent notes that GUR detected Russia bolstering air defenses around Moscow with S-400 systems, 248-mile range, 373-mile target detection. S-300 systems, 124-mile range, carrying 48 N6E3 missiles, and Panzer S-1 systems, 12-mile range, combining missiles and 30mm cannons, deployed in areas like Kolomna and Serpukhov. U.S.-provided satellite data revealed movements of Russian air defense units in Moscow Oblast starting July 8, helping Ukraine identify gaps in the defense grid. NATO played a critical role, with AWACS aircraft near Poland's border providing real-time data on Russian air activity. Combined with on-the-ground GUR reconnaissance near Lukhovitsy and satellite imagery from Maxar, Ukraine plotted complex flight routes through rural areas in Bryansk and Kursk, where radar coverage was sparse, allowing drones to approach Lukhovitsy undetected. In Kyiv, drone units were on high alert from July 9, with operators trained to program and launch drones within 30 minutes of orders. Engineers in Kyiv and Lviv rigorously tested each drone, ensuring navigation systems and warheads functioned flawlessly. Ukraine used encrypted Starlink satellite communications to coordinate the attack, enabling intelligence teams to monitor Russian responses in real time. Mobile launch sites, spread across over 20 locations in eastern Ukraine, were used to deploy drones simultaneously, preventing Russia from pinpointing the attack's origin. This preparation, paired with precise intelligence from Maxar and GUR, positioned Ukraine to deliver a daring strike at the heart of Russia. The assault began around 8 p.m. on July 10, 2025, when over 100 drones launched from mobile sites in eastern Ukraine streaked into the night toward the Lukhovitsy Aviation Plant. Russian early warning radars, including the Nebo-M system, 373-mile detection range, capable of tracking low-altitude targets, detected initial signals as the drones crossed the Ukraine-Russia border into Bryansk and Kursk airspace. Within 4 hours, moving at 124 to 186 miles per hour and flying below 1,600 feet to evade radar, the drones traversed rural areas. Ukraine's drone swarm tactic involved launching 20 decoy drones first to overwhelm Russian radars, enabling 60 AN-196 Luty and 30 modified Aeropract A-22 Foxbat drones to approach the target. Decoys flew at 3,281 feet, deliberately drawing fire from Panzer S-1 systems, depleting Russia's missile reserves on false targets. Equipped with spoofing devices, decoys tricked Russian radars into mistaking them for primary attackers, sowing chaos in the defense network. As the drones entered Moscow Oblast, Russia's air defense grid, including S-400 and S-300 systems, sprang into action. From 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. on July 11, S-400 systems fired at least 10 SA-21, Mach 14, 155-mile range, downing about 30 drones, mostly decoys, at 124 miles from Lukhovitsy. However, the AN-196 Luty drones, with radar-absorbing coatings and low-altitude flight, slipped through long-range defenses, closing to within 31 miles of the target. Panzer S-1 systems around Lukhovitsy engaged, using integrated radars and 30mm cannons to destroy 20 more drones. Yet, Ukraine's saturation strategy, with a massive simultaneous drone wave, overwhelmed Russian defenses. Some AN-196 Luty drones carried electronic countermeasures, briefly disabling Panzer S-1 radars, allowing others to zero in on the target. Around 1 a.m. on July 11th, the quiet Moscow Oblast night shattered with deafening explosions, like thunder roaring through a storm. Blazing fireballs erupted at the Lukhovitsy Aviation Plant, illuminating the sky and jolting residents awake, hearts pounding amid the chaos. Kyiv Independent reports that at least 30 drones, including 20 AN-196 Luty and 10 modified Aeropract A-22 Foxbat, slammed into aircraft assembly shops and component warehouses where MiG fighters and Shahed drones were built. High-explosive warheads, packing 110 to 165 pounds of TNT equivalent in AN-196 Luty and 220 pounds in Aeropract A-22 Foxbat, unleashed devastating blasts, shaking the entire area. Some AN-196 Luty carried fragmentation warheads designed to maximize damage to industrial structures, wrecking precision machinery and production lines. Flames spread rapidly, engulfing factory buildings, with thick black smoke billowing skyward, obscuring the moonlight in a chilling war scene. A nearby oil depot was hit, with secondary explosions amplifying the chaos as fire and smoke merged, turning the summer night into a nightmare. Plant security forces, caught in panic, activated jamming systems, but the drones' speed and numbers overwhelmed them. Panzer S-1 systems fired missiles and 30mm cannons, downing 10 more drones within 6 miles, but at least 20 struck the target. The Aeropract A-22 Foxbat, with its 220-pound warheads, caused massive explosions, completely destroying a Shahed 136 assembly shop. Some drones were programmed to attack in pairs, with the first breaching defenses and the second hitting internal targets, maximizing damage. Reuters reports that fires raged for hours, with Russian firefighters battling harsh conditions to contain the blaze. The plant was sealed off, obscuring the full extent of damage, but Ukrainian sources reported 2 main production shops and a component warehouse destroyed, halting MiG-29 and Shahed production. The attack inflicted significant damage on the Lukhovitsy Aviation Plant. Kyiv Independent estimates that 2 aircraft production shops were completely destroyed, with losses in the millions of dollars. A component warehouse holding critical parts for MiG-29 and Shahed drones was incinerated, disrupting Russia's arms supply for months. No official casualty reports emerged from Lukhovitsy. Russia's defense ministry remained silent, offering no data on downed drones or damage, a sign of failure to protect a strategic asset. The strike forced Russia to bolster air defenses around Moscow, weakening support for its fronts in Ukraine. Destroying Lukhovitsy was a resounding victory for Ukraine, not only militarily but also psychologically and strategically. It proved Ukraine's long-range drone force could penetrate Russia's air defenses, opening a new front in the conflict. Russia's need to divert air defenses to protect industrial sites further strained its resources in Donbass and Kharkiv, giving Ukraine an edge. The damage at Lukhovitsy disrupted production of fighter jets and Shahed drones, impacting Russia's military capabilities and arms export revenue. Internationally, the attack highlighted the escalating technological and scale of the Russia-Ukraine conflict, spurring Western support for Ukraine, particularly in drones and intelligence. It marked a milestone in modern warfare, where low-cost drones became game-changers, shaping the future of global conflicts. We hope this story has offered fresh insights into this war. If you found it compelling, hit the like button, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. What do you think of Ukraine's drone strategy? Can Russia counter such strikes? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.